Essentially, professionals, business owners are dropping out of the dream. They are committing professional suicide and no longer are in sales or in business because of one thing or another. And I'm telling you, I think I have the answer. Why is that? Well, I think the first reason is because of how sales is taught.
Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome to another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. And today, I want to talk to you about the death of a salesman, the birth of a legacy, and the biggest opportunity in the marketplace today. Did you know that over 50% of all real estate agents are out of the business in the first year? After 2 years, you see 67%. And after 5 years, over 80% of all of those who started with these hopes, dreams, and aspirations of the American dream are out of the business in 5 years. And you might think, well, I'm an entrepreneur. It's got to be better for me. Well, guess what? According to the Small Business Administration, within 5 years, 80% of all small businesses are no longer in the business. Why is that? Have you ever thought about that before? It reminds me of a play called The Death of a Salesman. And The Death of a Salesman was written by Arthur Miller, later to become Sir Arthur Miller. And do you know what Arthur Miller is most famous for? He's actually more famous for something besides the play Death of a Salesman. Do you know what it is? Arthur Miller was married to Marilyn Monroe. How cool is that? Another MM in the books, Marilyn Monroe, Michael Maher, March Magic, good stuff happening. So The Death of a Salesman was a Tony Award winning play in 1949. And Arthur Miller wrote it, and it ended up winning a Tony Award and many other awards. It ended up, being on Broadway and other places, ran for like 750 consecutive weeks. It was super popular. After World War II ended, it was one of the first plays that was put into Germany. And when they did the play in Germany, they would have 3 or 4 standing ovations after it, and the crowd would not want to leave. It was that impactful of a play. And the big part of it was the American dream. And freedom. And what is America all about? And spoiler alert, the salesman, Willie Loman, in the play dies. Now, can you guess how the salesman died? Can you guess how the salesman died? Some may guess that it was a heart attack, or, in real estate, we have a thing that we say, old realtors don't die, they just become listless. And for the non-realtors, they have no idea what I'm talking about. But to the realtors, they definitely get that, because we have to list to last for sure. Well, here's the thing. The salesman in Death of a Salesman ended up committing suicide. And I think it's actually a really good microcosm or kind of example of what happens to realtors and small business owners as they go through the cycle of being a business. And I want to put it out there. I want to just throw it out there that maybe what's happening is people are committing professional suicide when it comes to real estate and business, and they shouldn't. And in many cases, coaches, trainers, people, they just say things like, well, that person wasn't cut out for it. It was their drunk monkey, or they just couldn't do it. They couldn't hack it. They couldn't make it. And I don't think we need to blame the person. What if we blamed the process? What if we blamed what was taught in sales, instead of blaming the person, what if you forward this one podcast episode to someone you know, or YouTube video to someone you know in business or real estate, and it ends up saving their professional life? That would be terrific. And it could happen, because I think that we need to kill the sales process as it is currently taught. And we need to develop the birth of a legacy. And that legacy is a legacy of love, generosity, and appreciation. And to do that, we need to understand 3 cycles.
Let's talk about sales for about 15 minutes. So the one thing I want to say is, the traditional sale, and by the way, is the sales process working? The answer is no. The traditional way that the sales process has been taught is not working. You look at real estate. 4 out of every 5 realtors will be out of the business in 5 years. Think about that. 80% are going to be gone. And some people say those numbers are even lower. They're saying it's 3 or 4 years, not 5 years. But 80% of all realtors are out of the business in 5 years or less. Crazy. Here's the other thing. You might think, well, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I'm not under those. Yeah, guess what? Business owners, according to the Small Business Administration, 4 out of every 5 businesses out of business in less than 5 years. Why is that? Why? I think that's sad. Essentially, professionals, business owners are dropping out of the dream. They are committing professional suicide and no longer are in sales or in business because of one thing or another. And I'm telling you, I think I have the answer. Why is that? Well, I think the first reason is because of how sales is taught across the world and has been taught for hundreds of years. And that is the chase method. The chase method, you know it, right? Is you cold call, or you door knock, or a client expresses some interest. And what do? Right? You chase them. And you're taught to chase. And you chase them. Well, here's the thing. Have you ever been chased? When you are chased, what are your 2 options? Fight or flight. It's fight or flight. You're going to put up your dukes and fight, or 98% of the time, and for 98% of the people, you are going to flee. Well, it's the same way in sales. When you get a call, by the way, which now says scam likely, do you answer scam likely? You don't answer scam likely. But let's say you actually get a call and you answer it and it's a cold call. What do? You're trying to get off the phone. You're trying to wiggle out of it no matter how you can. So here's the thing. What most people do is they flee, but there are 2% of the people in the world who are actually looking for a fight. That's right. You call them, you're a salesperson, and I know this isn't you. This is the traditional salesperson. They call, that person was already looking for a fight. They start working together. Well, one person was looking for a fight. The other person came into their world. What are they now in? They're in a fight. They're in a battle. The whole transaction, the whole thing is a battle. Well, how do both people feel at the end of a battle? They're both exhausted. Everybody's exhausted. Well, here's the thing, is if the client's exhausted and the professional is exhausted, the salesperson is exhausted, what do they both feel? They feel frustration. They feel like it wasn't a success. And here's the thing. Do we want the referral? Are we going to get referrals from that person if they're exhausted? The answer is no. The other side of this too is, do we want their referrals? Because the people that are looking for a fight, they tend to find others who are looking for a fight. And you might think, well, I don't have any of those people, but I'm telling you right now, if you have friends on Facebook and you see notifications and you wrote a post and the notification says so-and-so commented on your post, and you go like this, oh, that person is, it's going to be controversial, argumentative, or you know what, it's just going to be something that's going to start a fight. Guess what? That person is in your network. They're out there. Now, we don't have to worry about the fights as much. The people that are more likely are the people like us that are more likely to flee. The salesperson comes, we flee. They door knock on our house, we act like we're not home. That whole group, we're part of that group because we just don't want to deal with it. So we flee. Well, what are salespeople in today's world taught to do when the person flees? We're taught to chase. Well, we get them on the phone. How's that conversation go? The conversation turns into, hey, listen, you know what? I just sold a home at your next door neighbor's house. I sold it in 4 days and I sold it for over $10,000 over asking price. It was a great deal. Now's the time to sell. Let's sell. Lots of promises there, yes? But the client still says no. They flee. Well, what are we told to do? We're told to chase after them, nurture, follow up. We're chasing them. We finally get them on the phone again. What happens? Oh my gosh, you know what? I just sold your neighbor's house in 2 days for $20,000 over asking. And in fact, I'm the #1 sales agent in the entire office, which is actually true because he's the only agent in his little cubicle in the office. But here's the thing is overpromise, overpromise, overpromise. The client still says no, and they flee. What are we taught to do as salespeople? We're taught to chase. Till finally, we get them again, and we get them on the phone or whatever it may be, and the traditional salesperson has been doing everything in the morning. They've been overcoming objections. They've been working on their closing skills. They've done everything, and now they do their sales job, and they're like, oh my gosh, you know what? You need to make it happen. Now's the time, and all the closing, the person's trying to wiggle out, but they can't. They're finally cornered, and they have to say yes. How does that client act the entire time they're working with that salesperson if they feel like they were cornered or tricked into working with them? They're looking to get out the whole time. And guess what? The traditional salesperson has given them the out because they've overpromised the entire way. Well, when you've overpromised, there's only one way to deliver, and that's under-deliver. When it's overpromised and there's under-delivery, how does the client feel? The client feels let down, frustrated. And how does the salesperson feel? They feel frustrated as well. Are frustrated clients going to refer you? No. So what do you got to do? You got to go and you need to continue to chase. And the chase cycle continues. So what does this look like? This is what I call the cycle of discontent. This is the chase cycle. So you're going to chase. No, you're not going to chase. The traditional way of sales is to chase. Chase, and then guess what? They're either going to fight you or flee from you. And guess what? You're told to chase. While you're chasing, you're overpromising all the way. And once again, I know this isn't you. This is your traditional salesperson. But I truly believe this is the reason that 4 out of every 5 realtors fail within the 5 years, and 4 out of every 5 businesses are out of business because they're like, oh my gosh, I either won't do this, can't do this, or it just doesn't feel right. And well, guess what? We chase, we overpromise. There's only one way to deliver when we've overpromised, and that's an under-delivery. And guess what? When you under-deliver, everybody's frustrated. The frustrated client doesn't refer you. What do? You got to go chase some more, which is exhausting. This is the cycle of discontent. This is the chase cycle. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to sales. Aren't you thrilled? You're not clapping in your home office right now? Yeah, that's what sales has been like for decades. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we need to get to the point where we no longer have professionals committing professional suicide. I truly believe there's a better way. And guess what? It's simple. It's small. It's easy. It's the referral cycle. You get referrals, and you know what you do with referrals? You tell them the truth. You tell them the truth. Listen, there are going to be bumps in the road. There is going to be turbulence on the flight. There is going to be problems on the inspection. There is going to be delays. There's going to be failures. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be problems. You tell them the truth. And I would suggest you tell them the worst case scenario or a nuclear case scenario. Tell them the worst of the worst. But you know what? You can do that with referrals. You can be honest with them. You can tell them the truth. And here's what happens when you tell the truth. good things happen when you tell the truth. What happens when you tell the truth is, guess what? You are in a position to wow them, to over deliver to the truth. The truth is, you know what? There might be 47 items on your inspection. And guess what? There might be, we might ask for 10 or 12 items from the seller. They might say 0. I just want you to know that. And then when there's only 20 items on the inspection and we ask for 15 and the seller actually does 8, our seller is thrilled. But here's the other part of this. What if the seller actually comes back and says, we're not going to do any repairs? Well, in most cases, buyer's remorse kicks in, buyer gets emotional, buyer says seller's not working with them, and it's a blow up and the deal cancels over a few small repairs. But you know what? Not my buyers, not your buyers, because we've prepared them with the truth that the seller may or may not do anything. And in fact, there's something in our business called as is. It happens often. My buyer, your buyer, because we've warned them, here's what they think. Well, Maher said that maybe they wouldn't do anything. So guess what? We have a decision to make. Will we take the home as is or not? 9 times out of 10, they take the home as is, or we go back for one more item. Hey, maybe, hey, how about if you do the refrigerator? How about if you do this? So the thing is tell them the truth, which is in turn under promising. And then when you just do your job, you are actually wowing them and over delivering. Well, what happens to wowed clients? They refer you more. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the referral cycle. How many of you would like more people on the referral cycle? A lot of you. What's interesting is we need to look at the chase cycle versus the attract cycle. What's interesting about this is look at how many steps the chase cycle has. And I didn't even put all of the touches that you're going to have to go through to chase down a potential client. I cut those out. But look how many steps are in the chase cycle, and look at how few steps are in the referral cycle. So fewer steps means fewer mistakes and also a much faster sales process, which leads to more sales, more money, more profit, more prosperity, and so on and so forth. So the nice thing about this is when you compare it, all arrows lead to the referral cycle. If you'd want more people on the referral cycle, you want more referrals, quit chasing and start attracting. So how do we attract people? How do we get more people on the referral cycle? I bet you want to know that. Here's the answer. The answer is the generosity cycle. Yes, it starts with generosity. You need to lead with generosity. Generosity is where you're going to put your energy. You have control over proactive generosity, right? Proactive gifts, proactive giving help, proactive help. And I'm going to share with you later the 7 gifts of generosity that we all have. And these are the ways that you can act with generosity. And I want you to know only one of them deals with money. Only one of them deals with you spending money or giving gifts to kick in reciprocity. So generosity. First, we're going to give massive value first. What happens in turn when we are generous? What happens is reciprocity. Reciprocity means that, guess what? They're going to give back. Here's where we need to get better, is we need to focus the way that people reciprocate with us to referrals. When somebody says, how can I help you? The answer is referrals. When somebody says, hey, what can I do for you? The answer is referrals. Referrals is an answer, not a question. Referrals is the answer when somebody says, how can I help you? Or what can I do for you? When people are looking to help us, we need to make sure they know the finest currency in our community is referrals. I'm going to repeat that. The finest currency, the currency that has the most value in this community, your tribe of trust, is referrals. That's the finest way to repay you. That's the finest way to repay each of the people within that community. Referrals is the core to your referral community. Now, what does referrals lead to? What kind of business would you have if you were getting all these referrals? Well, you would have a very profitable business because you're not spending any money on marketing and you're not spending any money on buying leads. You don't have to do that because you're getting all these referrals. Well, guess what? When you get a lot of referrals, your business is profitable. Well, your business is making money, which, just so you know, that's what your business is supposed to be doing. I know many of you are running unintentional nonprofits. I get it. No more of that. It's okay to be ridiculously profitable. It's okay. It's okay to be ridiculously profitable. It's okay to be ridiculously profitable. Bring it in, rake it in. You know what's going to happen with you when you get a lot of profit? When your business makes a lot of money, you're going to do a lot of good with it. You need to be making the money, because you know what? It's not going to just stay there. You're going to do great things with it. You're going to make a difference with it. You're going to help a lot of people with it. Damn it. Profit. I'm telling you, earn it. Bring it in. It's okay. And then pay a bunch of taxes. Everybody's happy that way, right? Ugh. So here's the thing. Profitability. Your business is making a lot of money. Now what kicks in? Well, what's more important than your business making money? Whoa. A lot of times when I'm asking this with live audiences, they'll say things like freedom, choices, family, relationships, health, all of these great things. If you roll all of those words into one word, I truly believe that one word is prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, profitability leads to prosperity. Prosperity, watch this, leads to more generosity. But here's where the generosity cycle takes off. That generosity is not at the same level. That prosperity has led to higher and more powerful generosity, which leads to higher and more powerful reciprocity, which leads to higher and more powerful referrals, which leads to higher and more powerful profit, which leads to higher and more powerful prosperity. And guess what? Once again, it just builds on itself. This is more of a helix than it is a cycle. It's more of a spiral staircase that is getting more and more powerful as you go up than it is just simply a cycle. But here's the way we need to look at this. We need to look at this as a bicycle. Bicycle, get that? Bicycle. So we have two cycles here. So you've got the front cycle, you've got the front wheel of a bike. Well, what's interesting about the front wheel of a bike? The front wheel of the bike is there for balance, and it's there for guidance, and it holds the steering wheel. And guess what? It's always in front of your eyes. Keep referrals at the forefront of your business and your communication at all times. Let referrals be the guide for everything you do in business. Let referrals be the guide for everything you do in business. Keep it in front. But what's interesting about the front wheel as a difference to the back wheel? Well, the front wheel, there's no drive to it. Where do we put our energies? Well, guess what? That is the generosity cycle. That is the back wheel. If you want to look at like leading indicators and lagging indicators, referrals are a lagging indicator. You don't necessarily have a lot of control over the referrals you get, but you do have control over proactive generosity. Generosity is the back cycle. You need to put your energies on a daily basis, every single day. It's about generosity. You're going to put your love in action, and what happens? It drives, it energizes the back wheel, which keeps the front wheel going, and all of a sudden you've got this great business based on these two cycles, and you never have to chase again. Quit chasing. Start attracting. Every day, generosity cycle. Act with proactive generosity. Call and see how you can help. Call and see how you can make a difference. Call and get really good at this. There's this game. You want to talk about the referral game? Here's what the referral game is. Call and find like some tidbit about them that you could send them a small gift that would blow them away. You find out that they just got a pug. You go to Amazon, you get a book on pugs, and you send it to them out of the blue. Now, that might even be an obvious choice, but look for these little things. It's just like, oh my God, they're going to love this because it's so important to them. And that's what the generosity generation is all about. In the ego era, it was all about, I'm the baddest, I'm the biggest, I'm the best, I'm number one, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? The consumer doesn't care anymore. The consumer doesn't care who's number one, the biggest, best. They don't care. Here's the thing. The consumer cares, do you care about me? And guess what? When it's all about them, when you're helping people, you're sending things, you're doing things that are in their best interest, you're doing things that they love, guess what? You get referrals. And they absolutely flood in like you've never seen before. It's like hitting the jackpot at the casino. So we need to act on Genergy. Genergy is just simply generosity, energy. When you are acting with generosity every single day, the energy you're putting out to the world comes back to you tenfold. And guess what? You get a ton of referrals. It's as easy as riding a bike. It really is. Once you're used to it, you get going. It's a lot of fun. I think the last thing that I just want to briefly go over and just review is there are 3 C's of referability. It's character, competence, and communication. And, you know, this is one of those where like, put me in, coach. I want to be in the referral game. Well, to be in the referral game, you've got to have some basic talents. Number 1 is character. Be on time. Do what you say you're going to do and finish what you start. And do the right thing. You know this. I'm preaching to the choir here. So the next one is competence. And competence is be the best, be the expert, be the best realtor you can be. Be the best lender you can be. Whatever it is, be the best. But don't be a know-it-all. When you don't know the answer, just say, you know what, I don't know, and then go get the answer. You also need to know the tools of your game better. If you're a realtor, you got to know the contract. Develop systems and processes, which we're talking about today and tomorrow and the next day. And this is really about do things right. So do the right thing, do things right. And then we have, of course, competence. And competence, speaking of competence, is David Childers is going to be here in a little bit, and he is going to take us down the road of what is going on in the real estate world, what is going on in the business world, and how can we take advantage of that to win the referral game. Make sure you tune into that. Communication. And then, you know, what's bad communication and what's good communication? What is your communication plan for the 4th quarter? What is your communication plan for next year? That's what you're doing during these 3 days. Figure out what you're going to communicate on a yearly, monthly, or quarterly, monthly, and then a weekly and daily basis. What are you going to communicate with your database at that, broken down to those, all the way down to the day? You know, communication is really the right word at the right time in the right way. And that's what we were here to work on. You're going to find a lot of the right words in the next 3 days. So here's the thing, is today is the day for you to get focused on your business versus being overwhelmed in your business. Build your communication plan, build your database plan, build your game plan. For the 4th quarter, build your game plan for next year. And you know what? You're going to be the all-star. You're going to be the all-pro. You're going to be the one getting all the awards that you want to get. But you know what? You're going to walk across stage, and all of a sudden, the recognition and the awards don't mean as much as the relationships you built in the process of building the business this way. Enjoy RMS. Virtual hug. I love each and every one of you. I only wish the best for you. And you know what? Welcome to the generosity generation. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the tribe of trust. And you know what? Welcome to getting more referrals than you've ever dreamed possible. And we'll see you in the next session. Thank you.
Oh, the 3 cycles are so powerful because it really does show us that the cycle of discontent is really like a unicycle. There is no guidance. There isn't any direction. There's certainly no balance. It's just, where do we put our energies? And it's always chasing and trying to keep our balance and trying to, you know, do that. And guess what? You're out of balance and you're out of whack and you end up falling. It is so much easier to ride a bicycle than it is to ride a unicycle. And that is how the generosity cycle and the referral cycle work hand in hand. But one of the things that I really want to reemphasize, and I think this is the timeliness of this podcast, is the importance of during the referral cycle. The referral cycle is you get referrals. You tell them the truth. They are wowed. And then wowed clients refer you some more, right? So you get referrals. You tell them the truth, which is under promising. It's very hard to under promise to a lead. It's very hard to under promise to a stranger. But you know what? When it's a referral, there's already trust built in, so you can just tell them the truth. And guess what? You under promise. What happens is you over deliver. Just by doing your job, you over deliver. You don't have to do anything like a superhero. All you have to do is do your job, and you over deliver, which wows them, which leads to the more referrals. The big point that I really want to make on this is the opportunity of the initial consultation, the buyer consultation, when it comes to expectations. So with a referral, especially with what's going on, and I have to lean towards my realtor friends right now because of what they're dealing with in the marketplace. And that is, we're going to need to get signed agreements before we show homes. And honestly, that's what I always did 20 years ago. So that's not new to me, but I know it's new to a lot of people. And it wasn't necessarily, required in all the different states. But the buyer's consultation is an enormous opportunity to set people down, stop, pause, and guess what? By slowing down, it ends up speeding up the process. So when you get them into a consultation, you have the opportunity to do a lot of things. The first thing is you take control of the process. One of the things that I have as a mantra is we control the process, the clients control the decisions. And guess what? When I start making decisions like, no, they're not going to see this property, or no, they shouldn't put that much down, or no, you know what, they don't want the fridge, or whatever it is, guess what? Problems happen. When I start making decisions for the client, things happen badly, right? The clients make the decisions, but I handle the process. And guess what? The same thing works the other way. When the clients start to handle the process, then that goes awry. There's always problems with that. And guess what has happened in the real estate world for sure is that the agent has become so reactive. The homeowner or the buyer or potential buyer finds the property somewhere, and then we've got to react to them finding the property. And in many cases, they find it on Zillow or some other site. It's already sold, and it's been sold for 500 days, right? They don't have the most accurate or current information. And, they all of a sudden they dream about this house that, 500 days it was priced for that, but now it's worth more. And, and it's not available, right? So the power of the buyer's consultation and in the initial consultation is that we get the opportunity to sit down and go through the process with someone who doesn't understand the process. And they might think they know parts of it, but it gives us the opportunity to figure out who the decision makers are. And guess what? If mom and dad's going to be involved, then they should come for the buyer's consultation too. We get an opportunity to get referrals. That's what happens during my buyer's consultation is I explain that I do work primarily by referral, and I usually walk out with the names and numbers of 2 or 3 people that I need to follow up with. And it gives me the opportunity to grow my network. And it also is an opportunity for safety precaution. There's no way in the world I'm going to show up and show a stranger a home without some type of filter that gives me safety and gives my team safety, gives my family safety, gives my, and I'll throw my female members of the team safety. So, safety precautions are a big thing. And the other thing that a buyer's consultation does is, imagine that you are in a home and it's got a basement and you need something out of the basement, and you remembered it's on the other side of the basement and you really wanted it and it's really necessary right now. And guess what? You need to get it. Well, if you go and open the door and the light is out on the basement and you can't switch on the light, it's dark. How quickly are you going to go down those steps and across the basement floor? You may not do it at all. You may just close the door and say, I'll get it when the light's working, or I'll fix the light in the morning when it's daylight, or whatever it may be. And guess what? That's how a lot of buyers are, because they don't understand the process, especially in a new state or in the new marketplace that we're about to see. They might get fearful. They might get frightened of the dark, of what they don't know, the unknown. And it's okay, right? Now, here's the thing is, let's say we are at the basement door and we look down and we flip the light on, right? How quickly can we go down the steps and across the room? The fact of the matter is we can go very, very quickly. It is the same way with a buyer's consultation or an initial consultation, because we have the opportunity to explain how it works. And what that does is that puts light bulbs after light bulbs into the head of the potential buyer, and they know what's coming next. So there's no hesitation. They can go quickly through the showings to the point where they make an offer, to the point where they win it, and to the point where they get a home under contract. And then, guess what? Then they can see what's happening in escrow, which is, the inspections and the appraisals and the contractors and all the different things that happen during escrow, all the way up to closing. And then after closing, we get the opportunity to explain what happens after closing. And in many cases, we can show the immense value that we can bring to them, not just during the transaction, but during their whole life. And in the process, one of the biggest things you can do with a consultation is you can go from transactional through relational. Sure, you should be friendly, you should be warm, you should be welcoming, you should be kind, you should be professional, all those words of being relational. But as we all know, we all have relationships that aren't referral relationships. We don't get referrals from all the relationships. So it takes more than just being relational. It's not all about relationships, ladies and gentlemen. It's about transformation. And guess what? That's the power of a buyer's consultation. We can go from a transactional arrangement where you are just a Supra key holder opening doors, through relational, that you're a friendly person who can use a Supra key to open doors, to transformational. We need to go from transactional through relational to transformational. And we have the ability to do that with the buyer's consultation, showing them that there is a before the home is under contract, there is a contract to close period. And you know what? In this relationship, there is a post-closing celebration relationship that lasts forever. I am going to be your real estate resource forever. I am going to be your real estate consultant for life. And guess what? When you know me, guess what? You have an entire community that is here to help you. Your life is going to be better because we interacted. I'm going to be your BFF forever. That doesn't mean we're going to talk all the time. In fact, after you close, we may only talk sporadically. But the bottom line is that I'm always going to be here for you forever. And that is the type of relationship, the transformative relationship, that we need to establish so that we go from just having clients to having stark raving fan ambassadors, brand ambassadors who speak highly of us and they refer us willingly. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the opportunity in buyer consultations. I hope that you'll contact me. You'll reach out to joingengen.com about buyer consultations. And I just want you to know, buyer consultations are going to become the norm in the real estate world. And I know some of you have been doing it. I can help you make it even better, to the point where you get referrals and you can explain your value better, right? But here's the thing, even if you're not, if you're a roofer, or you are a landscaper, or you are an attorney, or you are a financial planner or an insurance agent, have an initial consultation with your client to explain the process of how it works with you, and how you are not just in it to make money. You are here to add value, to help them, and to truly make their life better, because they have interacted with you and you are now a part of their life. And I will tell you, when you do initial consultations, when you do buyer consultations, you will get more referrals. It might be the linchpin activity this year to you getting more referrals. That's how much I believe in it. And I'm telling you, in the real estate world, there's a lot of chaos right now going on around a settlement proposal and what's going on in the world. And some people's practices are going to change. And guess what? In that chaos is major opportunity to level up your business, upgrade your business, take it to the next level, grow as a human being, grow your army of ambassadors to greater numbers than you've ever had before, grow your profit, grow your prosperity more than ever before, make ridiculously, be ridiculously profitable, all the good things. There's an opportunity here. I hope you take it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time on Referrals Podcast.